Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day as always. We're looking at Lord's Day 15 today, and it's a pretty thick Lord's Day, three question and answers, but it deals with some pretty intense subjects, namely the subject of suffering. Um, and essentially, it explains why Jesus, the Son of God, would come and suffer. Question and answer 37 of Lord's Day 15 says this. It says, what do you understand by the word suffered? And this, of course, is suffered in the Apostles' Creed, because this is breaking down the Apostles' Creed still. The answer, that during his whole life, that is Jesus' whole life on earth, but especially at the end, Christ sustained in body and soul the anger of God against the sin of the whole human race. This he did in order that, by his suffering as the only atoning sacrifice, he might set us free, body and soul, from eternal condemnation, and gain for us God's grace, righteousness, and eternal life. All of Jesus's life was, as you think about who he was, it was suffering. It was an act of suffering. And think about this. He gave up the joys of heaven. He got off his throne and came down to us. He experienced then, and taken on the human nature, our infirmities, right? Our sufferings. He experienced hunger, thirst, all these sorts of things that he would not experience in his divinity alone. He was poor. He didn't, there's a spot in Luke's gospel where he speaks about not having a place to lay his head at night. And then, of course, throughout his, well, especially towards the end, through his ministry, he experienced insults, slander, betrayal by his own friends and such. He was tempted by the devil himself. And then, of course, he suffered a shameful and just unbelievably painful death. And then, to top it all off, he endured all that for you, for me, as we trust in him. He experienced separation from God so that you wouldn't have to. Well, often I think in our life, in our culture, kind of here in the cushy Western world, we don't have a theology of suffering. But as we look at Christ's life, the Son of God experienced suffering on our behalf. And so, therefore, we have no reason in our life to expect that there won't be moments of suffering. And the question kind of becomes, how do we endure that with joy? And think about this. This is sort of the thing that Job put in place. I put this right behind me. In Job, as he's replying to his wife, when his wife tries she says to him, curse God and die, right? Because he's still maintaining his innocence in this. And Job replies to her, he says, what are you, foolish? Should we expect good from God and not expect trouble? Here's the thing. God uses suffering in our lives to shape us, to mold us. Sometimes we don't even understand why we have suffering in our lives, quite frankly. But as we trust in the character of who God is, and we understand that God himself, in the person and work of Jesus Christ, suffered on our behalf, this gives us the strength to endure and to maintain even in the most intense suffering, knowing that on the other side of it, that God is there waiting to embrace us and to hold us in his arms. Well, all right. Well, with that, I pray that your day goes well, and we will see you again hopefully tomorrow.